I used to have a pretty strong shopping addiction that was partially rooted in the poverty that I experienced in my childhood and adolescence. And I still occasionally have relapses due to emotional stress or psychological insecurities that we all have from time to time. And that's where intentional minimalism helps me a lot. Hey my friends, if you're new here, I'm Anna and this is my channel which is about everything that is mindful, minimalist and creative. And today I want to share 6 tips that help me shop less. And I hope that you will find them of use as well, especially if you decided to practice a low buy or a no buy year. Sometimes just touching or holding a thing can bring just enough experience not to be sad about not buying something. When my husband and I were on our last vacation before the whole global situation happened, we found a very interesting store in Lisbon with lots of artisan items and some European indie brands that I've never heard of. There were all kinds of things. Clothes, shoes, accessories, stationery, glasses, like all kinds of. And I love colors, and there was an amazing feast of colors. But of course, everything was way too pricey for me. So I just walked around and touched things, let them speak to me, imagined wearing them. And I remember that there was a yellow dress with navy floral pattern that I especially liked, and I can still feel the texture of that fabric. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel sad or disappointed for not having something. The experience and the gratitude filled me so much that it outshined the absence of instant gratification that we are usually addicted to when shopping. So, and this practice of enjoying something without a desire to own it can be a very powerful one that can be applied to various spheres of your life. In clothing stores or, those supermarket sections where they have smaller items such as socks, tights, mugs, jars, I don't know, anything small, I often have the desire to get something because I have that implanted belief in my mind that says, why not treating yourself to something? You deserve it. It's just a pair of socks. It costs a fraction of money. But then it actually is not a good idea because when you spend money on smaller items, it seems like it absolutely doesn't hurt your wallet, but those expenses accumulate into very and quite significant sums. And at the end of the day, you can find yourself standing in front of the drawer filled with socks that you will never be able to wear out. And socks are just an example, and it can be anything, just any small item that seems super cheap, and thus it can be afforded. And the same thing is with items on sale and our fear of missing a great deal. So we want that buyer's satisfaction feeling, and we also, all of us want to save money. But we should always think, when we have an intention to buy something that we were not going to buy, to think whether we already have it in our wardrobe or cupboards or like at home. And it's just the best way to handle the situation. Sometimes we have the temptation to buy duplicate in fear that the item that we love so much will worn out or get damaged somehow. But it rarely happens. Today, with our pace of consumption, especially of consumption of clothes, items almost never get worn out. 20 years ago, when I studied at the university, I had only one pair of jeans, my favorite ones. They were flared and they fitted me perfectly. And I was so sad when eventually they got worn out in the booty area. So I got inventive with patches, and it looked kind of weird, but still, it worked. But it rarely happens now. I barely wear out any items except for, like socks. Also, not always you will be happy to wear an identical item after the first one, say, gets damaged. We are humans and we often strive for something new and fresh. It's our nature, and this drive and this desire can be controlled with help of a minimalist attitude to life. But it still exists, and I think it's absolutely normal. That's why my advice is just enjoy your favorite item, one item. Wear it, cherish it, and when the time comes, just kiss it goodbye and look for something else that will speak to you at that very new moment of your life. We constantly change, and something that is perfect for us today will not necessarily be our cup of tea tomorrow. But sometimes this rule doesn't work with basic items. For example, I found a perfect turtleneck for myself, and now I have 3 identical in different colors, and they're very affordable, and I own them for several seasons already, and they're just perfect for winter layering. So yeah, there are exceptions as well. Marketing traps work so well now that it's incredibly hard to avoid them. With the abundance of new and beautiful things that are aggressively advertised to us every day, it's very important to remember what you already have in your wardrobe. For example, I tend to shop when I feel stressed or burned out from work, from my translation projects, especially when they're boring as hell. And every time I have that desire to go and browse some online shopping platforms, I go to my wardrobe instead and try different clothes and try different looks for just wearing them during the day. But I work from home, that's why it's easy for me. When I used to work in the office, I would often shop a lot online just to survive through those working days. Dreadful experience. Yeah. I also often reorganize and clean my wardrobe in order to keep in touch with it and admit and see that I have just enough of everything. I know I say this a lot, but it's so important and significant to me. When you make something with your own hands, it's a much more meaningful and satisfying experience than just simply buying an item, I don't know, for example, a sweater. Instead of instant gratification, you get an extended experience, a journey of creating something. And I think it's one of the most wonderful gifts that we were given, and also it's one of the ways to get closer to our true nature. The other day I was walking past the school that is right by the apartment building where I live. It has very old metal fence, and I saw a sparrow sitting on the lower bar of the fence trying to tear a thin dry blade of grass peeking out of the snow. The sparrow needed that blade of grass for something, and obviously not for eating, but for making something. I don't know, for making its little nook somewhere under the cold roof a bit more homey. And I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking or exaggerating, but that little powerful encounter made me think. And I think there is a strong reason for us to follow the example of that sparrow and to create at least something little but very meaningful to make our days warmer and brighter. I convert the cost of an item into some alternative value, something like 6 days of healthy and tasty food, or 6 hours of work, or a one-day trip to a neighboring city. Sometimes in my past, well, often in my past, I would prefer buying something material rather than having an experience, because I thought that the material, the physical thing that I could touch and use will stay with me forever, instead of just ending like food or a trip. I am a human and I get anxious very easily and I can panic a lot, and of course I want my life to be stable, predictable and grounded. And when I would buy some unnecessary physical items, I was trying to gain control over, I don't know, I just thought I gained control over my life in some way, but it wasn't true. I thought it was, but it wasn't. Life is never stable and we don't have control of anything that happens outside our minds. It's harsh, but it's true. And an essential part of my minimalist journey is to realize this fact. Purchasing unnecessary material items is like putting a patch instead of really healing the issue, the fear of not having control over your life or the whole world. We live in the world that makes it impossible not to shop at all, and I think it's fine, and we should never feel guilty for giving in and buying something that we were not going to buy. This journey takes time, and it's not about perfection, but the balance, the individual balance that is right just for you and not everybody else. So let me know in the comments whether you have any issues of shopping less or more, or maybe you can share some great working tips. I will be excited to know. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, my friend. You take care, be safe and have a lovely day, and I will see you soon. Пока-пока.